Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? Look, before we even get into the stream, won't be no music, won't be no intro, not on this one. I got y'all, Lord willing, tomorrow. TikTok is a different beast, an entirely different beast. TikTok is really strict with using any type of content, especially music. They're very petty, scary petty. Like unreasonably, I don't understand why, but they are petty. So right now, we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Peace and blessings to everybody in the building. I thank you for coming out. Uh, Grab you something to drink. Hopefully, you done already had your dinner. I mean, it's after 9 o'clock right now. I mean, I still snack here and there, but at this particular time, you should already have had your belly full. But even not, grab you something to bite, glass of water, some wine or whatever. I don't know what your thing is, but get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is stream three. Stream three. I've been on here all day. I got on here at 8 o'clock. Got back on here around 12, 1 o'clock. Now we doing the after hours. Yeah. I told you I was going to be active all this weekend. All this weekend. I'm a man of my word because it's a lot to discuss and not a lot of time to discuss it. And so, as long as I have the opportunity and the space to do so, best believe I'm going to do it. How's everybody feeling though? How's your weekends going? Did you get out the house? Was the weather decent? Did you get to enjoy your time with your friends and your loved ones? No water today. I already had my fair share of it. We got to get some caffeine in us. It's the weekend, right? You know how fast Saturdays go. The next thing you know, tomorrow's Sunday. You got to do laundry and prepare for work. I'm not in no hurry for the weekend to be over with because I already know that next week is going to be hella busy. It's going to be a lot of moving, a lot of motion. People are going to be just here, there, and I want to enjoy my time off as much as possible. Speaking of which, it's going to be a bittersweet November and December, but I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving and Christmas just off the strength of getting those extra days, man. Them extra days be counting. Even if it's one day out of the week, you really be grateful that you got that spare, because 2 days is not enough. If we being honest, 2 days ain't enough. I need me at least 3, because by the second day you're already just thinking about going back into the building or wherever you are. But that third day, it makes the second day just like, oh, I'm so glad I ain't gotta get up early in the morning, man. I can just lay here one more day and not worry about folding laundry. I ain't gotta do nothing. Just chill and relax. Yeah. But I digress, man. Welcome to the After Hours. Some of you are familiar. Some of you aren't really familiar what we do over here. But at this portion of the night, we like to get into the to the real meat and potatoes, the shit that folks don't really talk about during the daytime. We get raunchy and wild, and like this is adult time. This is for the grown folks. You know what I'm saying? Uh, before I get into this topic, let me give my shout outs real quick. Shout outs to my writers, my poets, my content creators, authors, singers. Salutes to everybody out here doing their thing, trying to make something happen. Shout out to the folks that's still hustling and grinding and pushing and scratching and clawing to make things count for every second. Salutes to you. I appreciate you. Without you, the world would be more screwed up than it is. I'm gonna slow cook this one tonight. If you're not following me on YouTube, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Assembly of Excellence. Matter of fact, I don't even know what I was thinking about. I can't believe I didn't even add this over here. Mr. Kelly, I see you, sir, and I appreciate the like over on the books of face. I appreciate you, sir. I'm trying to get some motion going over there. I am. It's a little tricky to get traffic on Facebook. Maybe I need to focus a little bit more on posting over there. Maybe that's what it is. I'm a question, because we got time. This the after hours. We just kicking back. There ain't no rush. Is Facebook, what's different between Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram? What's the difference between Facebook and all the other sites? I'm really asking because um I never really personally liked Facebook. I never had a real reason to use it, just because I thought it was not very private. It seemed like people are entirely more nosy, and more of your personal space is invaded over there. I felt as if like people had more access to you on there versus being on Twitter or any of the other sites. I never stayed on it long enough to really know if it was for family or it was for a bit of everything. But in the last couple of years, a good 2 years, 3 years, I've been more involved with it, and I see that it is kind of resembling YouTube. It's like YouTube mixed with Instagram, mixed with Twitter. Yeah, Greg. Speaking of which, I need to do some rearrangements with my channels because I got one that I want solely for the podcast and clips and things of that nature. My other page, I just wanted to be specifically for friends and family. So uh I'm gonna have to curate those pages. I haven't been on there. I don't stay on there very long. I spend more time on Threads and IG than on Facebook. I've never really invested too much in it. But I was always just wondering what was the hype around it. On Facebook, you can glean more personal information if you have nefarious attention. Yeah, that was one of my concerns. That was one of my main concerns with Facebook. You can type in a person's name and it pop up. And I noticed a lot of folks use aliases. They're not using their government name, and I can understand why. But nah, I just want to draw more traffic over there. I would love it to be in a space that I would have people watching from Facebook if they're not on YouTube or Twitter or Rumble. They would watch from there. They would watch from every single site that is offered to social media. Everything, yeah, that's what I gathered. And I'm not really a extroverted person. I prefer a degree of privacy. I don't think everything needs to be put on social media. The world does not need to know what I cook. The world doesn't need to know about my bathroom regimen, how often I take a shit. Some stuff should not be on social media at all. Everything that we do in life does not need to be blasted for the world to see. I don't know why folks feel the need to share every detail of their existence on social media. I give you what I want and then I keep it moving. But I'm gonna dedicate tomorrow to restructuring my pages. Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. So for those of you who are following me on Deep Entropy, go follow me on Assembly of Excellence podcast. That's where I want to funnel all of my traffic. The Deep Entry page is more of a family page. I'm about to set it up to where I can start actually putting some of my more special moments up there. I just want to use it more, but I don't want everybody, what I'm saying, in my personal space. Uh, but let's go ahead. Let's jump into this one. Now, I've spoken on it before, but at a limited capacity. Shout out to Jason and everybody that came on. What's for you is for you and only you. Your forgiveness and letting go and getting rid of a lifestyle that doesn't serve you, getting rid of bitterness and harboring certain emotions and feelings towards people, it's not for them. It's for you. We talked about this before. I never went into full detail about why and the cause and effects of it. I want to go into the cause and effects of it, what it does to we always have like these cliche answers. You ever spoke to somebody and when they're talking to you, they give you just like these vague responses. They tell you no, don't do it. They tell you no, leave this alone, don't touch this. They give you just brief responses, but you never get a why behind it. You never really get a real breakdown behind it. So you're left to wonder, well, you're not really saying nothing. You you're saying a whole lot of something that's nothing at all. I need details. I'm a visual person. You can't just talk to me and direct into you have to show me. I have to see with the discussion and the conversation. And why to me this is so important is so that you can move on and have a healthier mindset, a lighter spirit. Your conscience is clean. You're not stressing. You're not having nightmares and sleeping and having eating disorders and having to go to counseling. And you're not like having like ripple effects of just some screwed up psychological crap going on, taking out your anger and all of that shit on other people because something that they did or said triggers you because it reminds you of what the other person did. You don't want that on you. So let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's talk about what happens. Well, first of all, let's talk about why it's not for them, it's for you. Why forgiveness is not for them, but for you. And then we'll go into the other pieces. So I'm gonna try to be as simple as possible with my description. And this doesn't necessarily apply to just one thing. I'm gonna just use this as an example. So let's say you've had a friend for 5 years. 5 years is a pretty adequate amount of time to get to know somebody, enough to where you know pet peeves, you know what they like, dislike. I would assume in 5 years you've met family, you've hung out with other people, friends of friends. You know if you like somebody that they're friends with, and vice versa. You've had arguments, you've had fights, you've had ups and downs. 5 years is an adequate amount of time to really solidify whether or not you're an associate or you're a friend. But even then, some people are just foolish enough to believe that they are more than what they are. You know, but let's say you've known somebody for 5 years, you meet somebody, and you fall in love with that person, but your friend ends up sneaking you, going behind your back, and cheating or having an affair with your spouse, man or woman, and you find out about it. What is the typical reaction of a human being in that instance? What happens normally? Well, social media and the world we live in, what they show you is what happens with rage and jealousy and envy. What happens when a person feelings get hurt, when they feel betrayed, when they can't regulate their emotions or their thoughts, they lose themselves. I mean, just imagine seeing your spouse butt ass naked in bed with your best friend. Most people would snap. Not a lot of people are going to walk away from that, right? That's generally what you see. Because you're not really thinking. How can you really? I mean, I'm putting myself in the shoes of somebody who just walked in on somebody. How do you process that? I think I would be screwed up as well. But here's the thing: you're at a crossroads. Somebody that you've known for 5 years just crossed the line with somebody that you poured your heart and soul into, that you were intimate with, that you thought you could trust. You're at a crossroads. You have to make a decision. Do you hold on to that friendship? Does that friendship supersede that relationship? Do you blame the man or the woman who stepped out? Do you blame yourself? Are you angry more so at the woman or the man? Are you angry at both? How do you handle that? You're in the heat of the moment. You're enraged. You're astonished. You're flabbergasted. You're just everything that you could think of. How do you process that right then and there in the moment? Now you can sit here and say you will walk away. You don't know what would you absolutely do in the heat of the situation? How would you go about resolving that? Do you deal with them both? Do you walk away? I'm using this to speak on a multitude of different scenarios that could happen. It doesn't just necessarily focus solely on a relationship. I have to keep reiterating that. So you're in this space. You have to make a decision. Is it going to be anger? Am I going to move and operate from outrage, or am I going to allow logic to have the say. Who's going to have the bigger voice here? Who's going to win in the tug of war of your mind at that particular moment? Because you know what's going to happen. You know the risk that you're taking once you decide to embrace the anger. You want them to feel everything that you feel right then and there. And I get it because you're the one that is feeling all of the pain and all of the sorrow, and so it's easy for you to feel vindicated and justified in reacting irrationally and erratic. But here's the caveat: you, just like me, there's a couple of things that play out in your head. So let's let's paint the picture real quick. Let me take you down this little rabbit hole. Leave me alone, TikTok. I didn't do nothing wrong. So I walk in the room. I see my fiance in bed with my best friend. They react in awe and shock. They can't believe that I came home earlier than I was supposed to. They didn't realize I had cameras in the house. She tried to cover up. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? I'm looking. I'm seeing red. I have a weapon. I could easily unholster. I can go to my spot, grab it, but I'm stuck. I'm frozen. I'm bewildered. I can't believe what I'm looking at. You know what's going on through my head? I'm thinking about all the times she was acting funny and I was ignoring it. I'm starting to piece together all of the different little scenarios between the time I met her up until leading to this day right here. How I just was so confident that nothing was happening, but she was showing signs that this was happening, and I ignored it. Everything that I ignored led me up to this, and we are here now. There's no denying it. Now, what do I do? I knew you for 5 years, brother. This is what y'all do to me. And my head is like, go ahead, unleash, release the anger. It's time. You were right all along. Go ahead and let your rage and your anger out. Go ahead, shoot them both. Get rid of them both. They didn't care about you. They're in your bed. There's two voices. The hurt part of you is saying, yeah, this is justice. Now, here's your opportunity to enact justice on people who did you wrong. You are absolutely right in feeling how you are feeling. You're absolutely right to be angry, to yell, to cuss, to scream, to want to put hands on both of them. You're absolutely correct in doing it. That's one voice. Then you have the other voice that's saying, "Go ahead and leave that alone. Walk away from it. Go ahead, just take your take your shit. Go go stay at your folks." Matter of fact, you kick them out. Just kick them out. Disconnect any type of communication from any of them people. Just deal with your anger and your rage in an entirely different way. Avoid the possibilities of being arrested, because what's going to happen is if you get angry and you say I'm about to go upside either one of their heads, you're going to jail or you're going to end up dead over something that wasn't worth it. As soon as you, because once you cross that line, there's no coming back. Like you just said, there is no point of return. Once you decide to allow your emotions to control you, you've already lost. You've absolutely lost. The real answer is to forgive and move on. Why do you forgive and move on? How do you win? How does anyone win operating from being irrational? How does anyone win when you end up going to jail because of your anger, because of your hurt? So you beat the shit out of them. The judge throws the book at you because technically they didn't commit a crime. Y'all not married. Even if you were married, let's say you were married, the better revenge would to take it to court, get the divorce, and allow the court to handle that. See, one thing that you got to understand is you can't control how a person feels about you. If a person wants to be a hoe, they're gonna be a hoe. If they want to backstab and they want to be conniving and they want to live nefariously, they're gonna do that one way or another. You can't monitor everybody. You can't be up their ass all day for 24 hours. Are you a hall monitor?
Damn.
Are you a police officer?
Damn.
Do you use GPS tracking?
Damn.
Are you a robot?
Damn.
Why would you in why would you exert so much of your time to chase after somebody you don't even trust? That don't make no sense. So you build this friendship or this relationship with somebody that you don't even trust for real, but then in the same breath you want to be angry and upset when you find out that everything that you were concerned about was absolutely true. How does that work? Make that make sense. You knew who they were, you ignored who they were, they did what you suspected them of doing, and then you still want to take out your frustrations on that person. I'm not processing the logic behind that or the reason. So now you're in jail. This person who didn't show you that they loved you, that they cared for you, is free. Can't lock somebody up for cheating. They cheat. You become violent, go to jail. They're still free, out sleeping with whoever they sleeping with, not thinking about you at all. And you're still left with the scars and the wounds of allowing somebody to affect you that much. You really will let somebody who's displayed to you time and time again that they weren't who you hoped they were, to control your feelings and give you the satisfaction and the dopamine hits that you desperately require and need to function. You can't blame them for that. I can't blame somebody for using me when I allowed them to use me. The reason why I have to forgive is because if I don't forgive you, I'm not going to be able to move on with my life. That says to me that I'm always going to have a part of you with me that I long for. If I cut ties completely from anybody, I don't get triggered anymore by nothing that you do. That is the greatest gift that you could give to yourself by far, hands down. Because your character has to stand and it has to withstand from the beginning of that relationship and beyond that relationship, regardless of how you get treated. They shit on you. All right, forgive it, move on, take a leave of absence from dealing with people, correct yourself, rewire the way that you think about yourself and how you go about vetting friends and vetting relationships. And then after, and only after you've done all of the work to make sure that you are in a good space, only then do you proceed to deal with other people. Because here's the thing, right? By you forgiving someone, you're basically saying to them, you don't own me. You have no rule. You have no control over how I process, how I think, how I regulate my life. When I go to bed, when I get up, you can't control how I dress, what my self worth is. I don't move on your timing. By you saying you forgive them, now what you have done is you've said to them, you can do what you want. It won't be with me, but you're free to do whatever you want. You release any responsibility for their choices or their decisions. Keywords, their choices and decisions. They chose that. They have to deal with it. That's their burden to carry. That's not yours. I think the reason why people have a hard time forgiving is because they take on the burdens, and they take on the heaviness of something. Like, how can I say this? If you're the type of person who could never do that type of shit to somebody, of course you're going to feel it's you got a conscience. You're empathetic. Of course you're going to feel horrible about stepping on somebody's toes. Of course you're going to feel bad about cheating on somebody that you care about, or lying to someone. Yeah, you're going to. You're not them. They don't view that shit the way you view it. So of course they're going to dismiss it. But you know what? The reason why you carry that anger and that hurt is because you know how you would feel if you did that to somebody. It will bother you. But you got to look at it like this. This shit don't even bother them. It couldn't bother them because they did it. And all it really does is it just tallies up. It tallies up. You're not you're not letting someone get away with it. No one ever gets away with it. Let's get that out of the way. You're not letting them slide. They're not getting out on you. You're not really losing out on anything. It just comes off like that. But you and that person are just not the same. You would never work out. It would never work out. It was only going to go but so far. You forgive so you don't have to carry something that isn't yours. Every time, so once you walk away from them and they proceed on with the next person and the next person, they're going to have to carry that with them because they don't know how to get rid of that shit. They don't even understand what you have done. They had power over you. You took back your power by forgiving them. By you forgiving them, they no longer have control over you. You're free. You're not under their control anymore. What happens if you decide not to forgive the person? Let's talk about that. You become sick mentally, emotionally. Your attitude changes. How you look at people changes. Your personality gets watered down. You become desensitized to feeling for things and for people. You're not as productive. You're not as open anymore. You're more defensive. When you don't forgive, you don't sleep well. You don't love the same. It festers and festers and festers and festers and festers. You look at everybody with their face on that body. and everyone gets remnants of who they were. They have nothing to do with it. Unforgiveness is like wearing away at your enamel. After a while, you keep consuming and consuming that festering junk. It will do something to your spirit. It will eat at you. It is not fun. It is not cute. It is not productive. It does not elevate you, and it does not become transformative. Everyone is a suspect. That's a fact. I'm a suspect. You don't trust nobody. But it's not even your fault. It's your fault when you take ownership over something that isn't yours in the first place. Those characteristic flaws are not yours. I get being mad because things just fell out. But I look at it like this: you give what you get. You treat people how you want to be treated. So if a person is unkind and they're phony and they're all these different things, leave them alone. Cut it off. Treat it like, let's just say that you're your own boss. They walked in the door. You saw their resume on Indeed. You read up on their history. It's up to you whether or not you want to hire them for that position or not. You know what you're getting. Some people do lie on their resumes, though. I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah, but you know what you're signing up for. Everything is there for the most. And so if you decide that you want to proceed with the hiring process, be prepared for what you get. But don't sit there and act surprised when they stop showing up like they're supposed to on that job and they stop doing their part and they coming in late and they stealing from your register by not being on time or falsifying records and all, taking hour, 2 hour lunch breaks when it's only 30. You forgive. If everybody treated friendships and relationships like it was a job and you were hiring for the best candidate, I bet a lot of people would be a lot happier. You wouldn't be so angry and so invested. You would treat it like a business somewhat. And I know that's not really a popular way to look at it, but it is kind of like a business. Friendships and relationships are kind of like a business because both of you are going into it with the understanding that there's going to be a level of reciprocation from both parties. And when somebody actually kind of breaches that oral contract, you have to go back to the table and have the conversation. Something has to give, or you're going to have to find somebody to replace the other person. Am I lying? What has unforgiveness done for anyone? Why do people take ownership of someone else's behavior? What does them cheating and stepping out got to do with you? What does them not being what you needed them to be got to do with you? But a gaslighter and a narcissist, they'll make it seem like it's on you and like it's your fault and your problem. They love to play that game. This is all your fault. If you hadn't did this and you hadn't said that, you said this and it made me feel like that. You shouldn't have pushed me to this. You pushed me to this. Well, you shouldn't have been looking through my phone anyway. You shouldn't even have been all over here in the first place. Right. How am I the victim? What wait a minute. How am I the suspect? How is this my problem? Uh aren't you the one who stepped out? Ain't you the one who backstabbed me? What are we talking about?
Shut up, bitch.
A person who lives like that, they can never be happy. The real reason why one of the reasons why you should forgive is because a person who live like that can never be happy. They're always going to be repeating the same patterns. Once you walk away, you think it's going to stop. You think them doing that to you was specifically for you? Nah, it wasn't. That's in them. It's been in them for some time, and they don't know how to unlearn that. And as long as that's in them, that won't be the last time that they have issues. You can bank on that. You can absolutely bank on that. Guaranteed. Yeah, that has nothing to do with you. You need to move on so the persons or persons that come into your life, they don't get a half developed soul. The person that God wants to be in your peripheral and in your orbit, they need you to be you. They don't need you to be a shell of your former self. They don't need you to be broken down and defeated. They need you to be what you were for the person who did you wrong. That's the bottom line. Otherwise, you might as well just stay by yourself. Don't even get involved with nobody. Stay alone. Mind your business. Because what's going to happen is their character will only change through the reality of harshness that comes back to smack them in their face for how they've been acting and how they've been treating themselves and other people. They're going to deal with people that ain't going to tolerate this shit. And they're going to deal with people who tolerate it and become like you until somebody is like, nah, that shit stops right here. It didn't stop with me. It didn't stop with him. But that shit is going to stop here with me. You're not doing that to me. Right. So they're never going to be satisfied. That's why you ain't no good for you to keep holding on to that. Just go ahead and release it. Once you realize that that's just who they are and you've always been like that, it won't hurt so much. You won't feel so bad. You won't even feel like you really lost too much. Because what did you get? What did you really get? I've seen it happen too many times. The gaslighting, people trying to make you feel like you orchestrated the demise of your friendship. They try to make it look like you completely prepared that conversation for months and months and months. And now that we're here, you're the one who made this become what it is. So they want to try to make it seem like they're exiting and leaving when no, no, you you were the problem here. You didn't like that I called it out. You're not equipped to handle it or deal with it. So you left or you opted to leave. Or I just decided that I didn't sign up for this and I'm out. Forgiveness is not for you, it's for them. Because if you can't forgive them, how can anyone forgive you for when you screw up? And you will screw up. Forgiveness allows you to continue on with your life without that intense pressure or responsibility of living a certain way when you know you're imperfect and you're capable of slipping up. And forgiveness means that if you ever did something to somebody, you will be given grace. Everybody gets grace. People who don't even deserve grace gets grace. So who are we not to give grace to other people? Because I mean, if you really think about it, grace is just unmerited favor from God. Like we've done entirely way too much to still get blessed with what we got, but we still get blessed and covered and protected. You've had relationships you ain't deserve. You ain't deserve that woman. You ain't deserve that man. You ain't deserve them friends. You ain't deserve that job. You ain't deserve that money. You probably should have been hit by a bus. Who knows? Grace, grace is what keeps us. So how can you not give grace to somebody else? You can feel however you want to feel, but you still have to be considerate. You cut them off. You cut them off. You move according. Let them go on with their life and figure out the hard way. Real spill. You're gonna do them regardless if you're there or not. If they want to be what you need them to be, they will be it because they want to be it. You can't coerce, you can't manipulate, you can't use control. You lose doing or trying to apply any of that type of pressure to somebody. Don't even waste your breath. Stop trying to change them. Stop trying to make them be something that they don't want to be, and just move on. Do whatever you got to do to get over them and over it, because there's something worth your time. I promise you. It might not come immediately, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? But I know it's difficult. But don't ever say that you're emotionally intelligent if you don't get that what they're doing has absolutely nothing to do with you. If they decide to go out here and be with multiple people and come back to you, that ain't got nothing to do with you or lack thereof or something that you're doing. That's their stuff. Those are their problems. Unforgiving, not letting it go, gives them the authority to continue on in your life. When you forgive them, there's no more authority. You're free to do what you will and go where you will and talk to who you want to talk to, just like they are. But when it all boils down to it, you're going to end up being the one that's winning out of that whole scenario. It's hard to conceive or get that in your head when you don't even understand the why. No one's ever spoken about the benefits of forgiveness, really, or the downfall of harboring unforgiveness. No one's ever really gone into that. I felt like it was necessary to do it. And I hope that you got something from it. I thank you. I appreciate you for tapping in tonight. I just dropped a video a couple hours ago on YouTube. If you didn't check it out, I would love to know y'all thoughts on that. This is going to be a very busy week. And tomorrow I will be back. I'm not going to do 3 streams. I'm going to do 2, though. I'm going to definitely do 2. Because I got laundry and all that stuff I got to take care of. So I want to try to decompress. But I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. Y'all been with me damn near all day. Some of you from 8:30, just 10 o'clock now. We've been at it. We definitely have been getting it in. I don't know how my voice isn't hoarse by now. I've been talking so much. But shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Do me a solid, hit that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, links in the bio. Pull up, show brother some love. This is Assembly of Excellence After Hours. Signing out. I can't do my music. Well, then again, yes, I can. Hold up. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop that. Stop this one out. TikTok petty. Boom. Let's try this again. Excuse me. This is Assembly of Excellence saying good night. Enjoy your evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing.